This episode is brought to you by Cartamax. Life on the front line requires you step up your game. Owned and operated by former Navy SEAL Sean Matson, Cartamax has designed just the right supplements for you and is offering American Party an exclusive offer. Buy one, get one free in your first order. Go to Cartamax.com and use the promo code American. That's Cartamax.com, helping you achieve your max. You are completely tone deaf. You know that?
Who?
You. Singing There Goes My Hero. Hey guys, we're live today for American Party Podcast number 24. We're going to be talking about passports. We were going to use the V word. You all know what I'm talking about, but we didn't want to get flagged by fucking YouTube for using the V word. I'm not going to sit straight. I sit the way I sit. I have terrible posture. I mean, I guess I could sit up a little bit. It's these shitty chairs that Giorgio keeps buying from Amazon. And obviously not Amazon.com because then they would work right. He's buying them from the Amazon. God damn it. These are the worst chairs of all time. Hey, tell me what the model of these chairs are. I'm going to give them a shout out right quick and tell them how bad they are.
I think they're just the Amazon Originals.
Amazon Originals. Get fucked.
From
right, cool.
the Amazon people, yeah. I'm just
Does the sound weird?
I don't think so.
Ruben Snyder just said that I have a bad posture because my dick is so big. That's not true.
That is a fact that is not true.
Yeah.
I know for a fact from 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about vaccines and whether or not, I did get a haircut and beard trim. I do every 10 days, which is why when you see me with the long beard, you can tell how fucking fast my stupid shit grows. Anyways, we're going to talk about vaccine passports today and how stupid this all is and illegal, but we'll get into that here in a few. So let's start off with a little banter. What have you been doing this week?
Man, I've been missing you.
I saw you posting stuff about working out. I don't really care about any of that.
Yeah, I know you don't.
I've had it with people posting workout videos.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do about it?
Well, I mute you.
That's fine.
Yeah, and then I can go look when I want to, and then if I see one workout thing, I go, nope.
Yeah.
Back on mute.
Well, you should just fucking unfollow me.
I might, actually, but then you'll get butthurt and start fucking calling me late at night again. Why'd you unfollow me, man?
Well, you won't answer.
No, I won't.
And that's the problem. What have you been...
You said my mic sounds a little raspy. What the fuck does that mean, raspy? Use words. Maybe it's my voice.
Listen, Dan, focus on me, not them for a minute.
I can't.
What have you been doing? That's the question. What do you I don't ever hear from you on the weekends. So what do you do on the weekends?
I avoid.
Don't even say, I just do drugs.
I avoid human interaction.
All of it.
Yeah. I try really hard to not see other people.
Yeah.
Frankly. Because I'm not exactly what you would call a people person. And somehow I've managed to get myself into a career where I'm around people constantly and talking to them. So not optimal for me.
Well, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm just, speeches are coming back. Been working on the book. That's good. So it's coming out.
Is it not done yet?
No, I mean, it's done, but like trying to get a tour together, trying to figure out when that's going to happen,
Yeah.
Just, and then thinking about you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I take my dogs to the park.
And you have 2 dogs. What's your dogs' names?
Morty and Jay. They're actually right there behind me. You can see them. Well,
Where?
you can see Morty right there, but
Where?
this painting right back here.
Oh, I thought they were here.
No.
Wow. What do they do all day when you're not here?
They sit in a crate.
You make them sit in a crate?
I don't make them. I wake up in the morning, take them out, feed them, and as they're eating and fucking around and having treats and shit, I go take a shower, get ready for whatever the fuck I'm going to do that day. And then by the time I come out of the bathroom, they're inside the crate sleeping on top of each other, basically. That's what they like.
Are they like...
They're boys. They're prison gay, yeah. There's no options, dude. So they got to do what they got to do. I'm not going to hate on them. Not that I would hate on them anyways. They can be gay dogs.
Do you identify as like a dog dad?
No.
You don't?
No, because you can't lock children in a cage for 8 to 10 hours at a time without going to prison for it. Unless you're Joe Biden, then you can do it for multiple days in a row and nobody says anything.
I had a guy once tell me that a buddy of mine, he said, listen, I was dating this girl or something, I can't remember. And he was like, but there was a girl involved. But he was like, listen, if you want to know who really cares about you, lock your girlfriend or your wife and your dog in the trunk of your car all day and drive around, open it and see who still loves you when who's excited to see you whenever you open it up?
So this will be our last episode. And you're not going to be on the next season of Teen Mom for sure. What if you got another 19-year-old pregnant?
Well, first off, I've never got a 19-year-old pregnant.
Well, what if you got a 19-year-old pregnant now and MTV called you and said, hey, do you want to come back on Teen Mom?
I mean, they couldn't pay me enough fucking money to come back on
They
Teen
could
Mom.
pay you. What if they said $1 billion?
Okay.
So don't say they can't pay you enough, then you piece of shit.
Well, they won't. They won't.
No, they're not.
I mean, dude,
MTV won't even exist in
dude,
2 or 3
there's
years.
nothing in this world other than hurt my own children or that I wouldn't do for fucking $1 billion.
So you would kill me for $1 billion?
100%.
Yeah, I would definitely kill you for $1 billion.
I would fucking, I would murder you on
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, pretty much agree with that. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, we're not. Is there any argument out in the crowd about this? For $1 billion, you'd kill pretty much anybody, right? Oh. I would kill any of my relatives for $1 billion. Like if it was my brother or sister, and I would give like maybe $100 million to the kids if they had kids, but that's it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't kill like my dad or anything like that, like for $1 billion.
I'll do it for you.
No chance.
We split the $1 billion.
No fucking.
Oh,
chance.
that's not. So you just don't want your dad to die.
No chance.
I see.
Yeah, I wouldn't like. There's probably 5 people I wouldn't kill for $1 billion.
Honestly, I wouldn't kill anybody for any kind of money. What would be the point?
Yeah, I would.
Like if I'm going to kill somebody, it's going to be for a good reason, like boredom or they cut me off in traffic or something like that.
I don't know. I wouldn't kill anybody. It's like so stupid. But I would do anything else. Like as long as it didn't involve hurting someone else, I would do it.
Hurting against their will, maybe, right? Like what if, so Governor Cuomo, for example, is clearly into masochism in some way or not. He's got nipple rings and he's a 65-year-old man. That means he's probably in some weird shit. So what if he wanted you to be his dominatrix? You tie him up, he's in a rubber suit, and you're just whipping him. $1 billion.
Bro. Yeah, I would wear the rubber suit too, and I would do it for free.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have a rubber suit sponsor. If you're out there and you're looking to sponsor a show.
That's kind of like I don't know much about that stuff, but like that's kind of fucking weird, right?
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Do you like to get beat?
No, I don't like to. I don't like to be touched.
Yeah.
At all, unless it's by a woman I'm dating. You know what I mean? Or in a truck stop or something like that. Obviously, I mean, look, I'm flexible on that, but there's got to be some context to it. I'm not into fucking pain. Well, I don't understand that, but
I don't either. Like I don't understand. Like, yeah.
Some people are like that. Speaking of pain, people are getting vaccinated pretty regularly now. I feel like
I'm vaccinated.
I think Biden announced yesterday that it's now available to all Americans. There's no waiting line anymore. You just got to find a place and make an appointment and do it because there's 3 different vaccines going on. So we're here today to talk about vaccine passports. What is it exactly? So a vaccine passport is a digital or physical record of an individual's COVID-19 vaccination certification or vaccine certification. So it might be an app on your phone. I know that Apple has talked about making an app. IBM is also involved in talking about making an app. All kinds of different stuff. The passport has been compared to an airline boarding pass in that it can be either printed out prior to use or displayed on a smartphone, which is obviously people are going to fake these, right? Come on. The document may be used to gain entry into different countries, institutions, venues, or other areas that require vaccination to access. Now, we'll get to different countries is one thing, but we'll get to venues inside the United States here soon. Because that's not going to happen with these vaccines. It's not legal, and I'll explain why in a little bit. It's not the same as a vaccination record card, which are issued by CDC after a person is vaccinated. It's different than that, so it's a separate document. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So like, I just I like to be the devil's advocate here, you know, like if they had told people that if they hadn't came out and said that it's going to be a requirement, this wouldn't be a big fucking hot topic.
No.
You know what I mean? Because guess what everybody's doing with their passport, the sheet of paper that everybody is vaccinated. What are they already doing? It's like a trend of get your vaccine, they post a fucking photo.
The vaccine challenge.
Yeah,
on
the vaccine
TikTok.
challenge, right? Like,
did you get your vaccine yet?
It's all on how they word it, right? I mean, we're already required to do a bunch of dumb shit in our life already.
Yeah.
So it's like if they hadn't have said we're thinking about requiring it, this would be a non-fucking topic.
Yeah, you're right.
It's fucking
Absolutely
nuts.
right, yeah.
Right?
And it's, it speaks to the level of anti-authoritarianism that is intrinsic in the American culture. We hate being told what to do, more so than maybe anybody else in the world.
Because we don't trust the people who are telling us what to fucking do.
Well, I mean, we came out of a fucking, what was essentially a dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
And moved directly into a representative democracy where the vast majority of people still weren't represented. So right from the very beginning, we distrusted government. And we should have, and it was right to do so. We should have distrusted them more, actually.
But isn't it hard to represent
330 million people? Yeah.
But I mean, not even that. But I mean, like,
just disparate.
Isn't it hard to represent all these people who have all these different intentions?
Yeah.
Who have all these different ulterior motives, right?
For sure.
Like, if people really came down to it and said, "Hey, we're going to do what's best for everyone. We're going to do what's in the best interest of our country first, of the people who are around us, and in our future," then this shit gets it's pretty easy to represent people and human beings.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's difficult, and it makes you wonder. I mean, we've talked about this on the show before. People are super romantic about the idea of a single country, the United States, in lieu of something like it was funny to me how anti-EU everybody in America was, or at least the conservatives in America were, but how pro keeping the states are, because it's the same situation.
So stupid.
Very disparate types of people living in very disparate climates with disparate fucking resources.
But it's like, don't
we have a common currency, we have a common defense, and that makes sense. But other than that,
but like with this fucking COVID stuff, just come out and tell us what it is, right? Stop using it like we don't trust it because we know it's a political agenda.
Yeah.
We know and we have seen personally how fucked masks are, right? Like I got a guy. I come out of the airport.
For context, you're an EMT.
Yeah.
So you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, I mean, I'm no doctor by no means, but I've seen plenty of COVID, right?
Yeah.
I've been exposed to it, no telling how many fucking times. But like, my point is that, so like I come out and people don't even listen. And like in the airports, they're stating it is a federal mandate to wear a mask. And it says even on top of it that like gators and shit like that are not considered masks, right? So I walk into this fucking gas station right next to the Austin airport, and this guy with no mask on, and this guy goes, "Hey, we can't serve you if you don't have a mask on." He's wearing a gator. He goes, "It's a federal law." I go, "Well, it's a federal law that doesn't fucking count as a gator, or it doesn't count as a fucking mask."
Yeah.
And so, and then I looked at him and I said, honestly, I have a disability to where I get anxiety of having something over my face and mouth. So like, you can't discriminate against my disability. And like, what's he gonna say?
Nothing.
What's he gonna fucking say?
Nothing.
How do you question if I can walk in with a dog or a fucking parakeet and say that it's my
People have taken many horses on planes. Although I hear the emotional support duck is gaining popularity. That is the one. I'm probably gonna get one. I'm not gonna lie.
If you get one, I'll get one.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I'm not gonna fly with it. I just want to have it in a little fucking like these stupid bros that have all their dogs in tactical vests right now. And they look. Let's be honest. They look pretty cool. The one that looks like a plate carrier that's on the dog with the fucking Velcro and it's in coyote or whatever camo pattern. It looks pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. But I want to get one for a fucking duck and just carry my duck around and just have name tapes on the duck to say something crazy.
But I mean, like,
do not pet on one side because it's my fucking emotional support
But my
duck.
point is
ESD,
like,
goddammit.
But my point is like we go back to fucking
tact a duck.
We go back to fucking these masks, and it's like if I have to understand and I can't question people with disabilities of why they do X, Y, and Z, well, then you can't fucking question me on why I don't wear a mask.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it should be against the law for you to question me.
The ADA, it is against law.
It should be against the fucking law. If I don't want to wear a mask, you shouldn't be able to discriminate against me for not. You know what? I was walking through HEB yesterday, and you know what I can't wait till? I can't wait till the motherfuckers wearing a mask are the ones that we look at the same way they look at us right now for not wearing one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I had a woman walk next to me, and she said, she like tried to whisper it quietly.
Did she call you a barefacer?
She was like, "What an idiot. You should put a mask on." And
you should be like, "You're ugly as fuck. You should put a mask on."
And she was like,
cover your whole fucking face.
She was over fucking weight.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I looked inside of her cart. I was going to get smart with her. But like, I looked inside of her fucking cart, and I'm just like, you cannot fucking talk to stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't.
But anyways,
People that are shopping in the middle of the aisles getting adult onset diabetes and such. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a tactical duck.
but
now.
I do think that it should, like, just in my opinion, whether legal or illegal, whatever, I do think it makes more sense to show if you have a vaccine or not versus you wearing a fucking mask.
Yeah, it certainly makes more sense.
Like if you said, hey, you don't have to wear a mask anymore if you have a vaccine passport,
Yeah.
I'd sign up for that motherfucker today.
Here's the problem. We have the passport thing is a very short-term necessity, which is going to be used long-term to like oppress the fuck out of people. We know that already. Anytime the government gets any power, they use it immediately to oppress people. So let's get back into the passport and see how it works. So several companies are currently competing to develop a smartphone application which will display a QR code verifying vaccination. So they're trying to avoid people using counterfeit stuff by using a QR code that's created by the app itself. Now, I know that sounds like an elegant solution, but it's still pretty easy to fucking fake these things. Anyways, the application doesn't display any medical information. Instead, showing a green check mark if the person has been vaccinated or received a negative test, or a red X if they haven't. Now, that is medical information, by the way. That still falls under HIPAA. Whether or not it's showing PII. So you know how when you're looking at a sentence and you're determining the part of speech and you're giving a direct command to somebody, the part of speech is the understood you, right? In parentheses. Remember that from high school? Mm-hmm. Remember how grammar works? Mm-hmm. Great. So those of you who do, I'm going to continue going. If I'm asking you to verify whether or not you've had some vaccination, the fucking PII is understood. It's your PII, right? It's just because I'm not asking directly for personally identifiable information, I have just by looking at your fucking face and knowing who you are and then asking for medical records on top of that. Can't do it. Some of these applications are going to allow users to upload their own documents while others connect directly to official lab results, right?
So
who's in charge of the official lab results? Because we know that the WHO and CDC are completely full of shit. They've been wrong about
for sure
everything.
For sure.
Not only that, the WHO has actually gone on to their website and gone back into history and changed what fucking herd immunity is defined as.
But when you look at if you give individual testing centers like they have right now, they're testing it there. So like it's not like they're being sent off like they were, right?
Right.
It's like there's less of a chance of the government fucking with it. I mean, there's
more of a chance of people in local clinics being like, yeah, we'll fucking fake your shit for you. Come on in. Why not? I mean, because honestly, they get paid for the tests that they don't administer, so they're making money there. They're also making money on doing this.
But any system is only as good as the people upholding it, right?
Correct.
I mean, any fucking thing.
Well, it's not only just as good as the people upholding it, but it's also only as good as it is enforceable. And if people can easily fake on one side or the other, whether the government can take advantage or the private citizens can fake it, then it's fucking pointless, right? Yeah. It's just a sideshow.
But what are you going to do whenever, if private companies
can't do that.
Start saying that,
it's against federal law for them to do that right now. And I'll tell you why in just a few minutes. We're not going to do that yet. Not there yet. But so let's get into who's making it first. It's mostly IBM and the front end of this so far. They've already developed an application called Excelsior Pass, which kind of sounds like a sex club, to be honest. And I hope it is, because that would be way better than what they're doing. It pulls information directly from a vaccination registry. Now, if the phrase vaccination registry doesn't alarm you, it fucking should. Any phrase coming from the government with the word registry at the end of it, typically not a great idea.
Not a great idea.
You know what I mean? IBM's also developing another application called Digital Health Pass, which will display data such as temperature checks, test results, and vaccination status. So every time you get your temperature taken at an official place, it goes in there. Every time you get fucking test results for anything, it goes in there. Fucking vaccination statuses on anything, right? The next time that a fucking virus comes along with a 99.7% survivability rate and they want to fucking control people and shut shit down, right? They'll be able to use this if it passes.
For sure.
To fucking fuck people over, fuck their businesses over. You don't think?
But guess what? They didn't have this, and they already did it. So
yeah,
I mean,
for sure. This will just make it easier.
It's like, what's the? I mean,
this makes it legal for what they did. What they did in shutting down people's private businesses. Every single court in America has overturned that shit.
But dude, it hasn't Either way, it still happened. Either way,
It still happened,
it's
yeah.
California.
But the governments are going to get sued at some point, big time.
Yeah,
for that.
but I mean, but guess what? That's just our tax dollars. I mean, they're suing fucking our tax. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't. I mean, I got it, right? Like I look, it's all fucked, right? But I mean, I do. I mean, when I apply to different jobs, like I have to show them vaccination records. Like when my kids go to school, like for my kids to go a daycare,
right?
Like my kids can't be at school if they don't have, like before they can go back to school, I have to show that they've gone to a doctor. I have to show that they've had a negative COVID test. I mean,
that's nonsense, by the way.
I have to fucking prove it to them, right?
Well, you don't have to. You can put them in a private school that doesn't require it.
I mean,
actually, you can tell them absolutely. You can tell them
on.
no. You can tell them no 100%.
But they can't.
Absolutely, they can. Yes, sir, they can. I'll get to why at the end of this show.
They can tell me they're not giving services.
No, they can't.
Like the school that my kids
public school cannot do that.
It's not a public school. It's a private school.
Okay, they can do what they want, but a public school can't.
No, public schools just shut down. The kids are going from home.
Yeah, for now. But when they open back up, they cannot require a vaccination. That is against the law. They can require vaccinations, but not this one, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. So let's get back to your point about wasting taxpayer money. The White House is about to unveil they just unveiled a $1.5 billion campaign aimed at convincing people to get the vaccine. Now, we gave $2 billion to the fucking companies to make the vaccine, and now we're spending $1.5 billion to convince people to get them. So they still, I guess the government still profited $500 million on that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. Anyways, another company, a Swiss nonprofit called the World Economic Forum and the Commons Project Foundation, are working on developing a scannable QR code showing proof of testing and vaccination. And then the International Air Transit Authority, or Air Transport Association, is currently testing a travel pass on 22 separate airlines. So that would be conducted by the airlines themselves and wouldn't have anything to do with any other industries. So again, these are all super problematic. We certainly don't want private industry in charge of fucking looking into our medical records. I don't know why anybody would think that that's not only a good idea, but acceptable at all. That's a horrible, horrible idea.
Quote me, in 5 years, it'll happen, and it'll be the new norm.
It won't. People have already, by and large, rejected this stuff.
Bro.
And, we're on the precipice now. I think we're getting pretty close to a period. I posted something about this yesterday regarding this $1.5 billion expenditure. That's $1.5 billion in taxpayer money that's going to convince people to take a vaccination that, frankly, they don't need. For the vast majority of people, you just don't need it, man. And it's not how that works. Herd immunity through exposure fucking works. It's worked for a fucking 2 million goddamn years.
You're going to get it sometime,
It's
no matter
worked
what.
for 2 million years. As long as human DNA has existed, it's existed.
Well, and like the shutdown wasn't to protect everybody from getting the fucking.
No, it was to keep the hospitals from getting over.
Yeah, it was to do it at everybody could start getting it at a rate to where the hospitals could hold this, so the system could take care of them. It wasn't like to protect everybody from getting it. You're gonna fucking get it at some point. Like at some point, everybody's gonna get COVID.
Yeah.
At some point.
Sorry. Yeah, it's that's kind of how it works, right?
Yeah.
People, I think 43% of people get the flu shot, something like that. 43% of eligible people get the flu shot, which means about 35% of people get the flu shot, probably, right? So definitely not enough for herd immunity, but enough people get the flu on a regular basis that slight mutations in the virus don't. I mean, look, we're in the early stages. This is a novel virus. There's going to be a couple of iterations of it over the next probably 5-10 years. That's why vaccines usually take 5 to 10 years to fucking reproduce. And get approved, because you want to make sure it covers you want to make sure that it covers the most amount of these offshoots as possible, right? Because there's like some seasons, I believe there are like 3,500 different variants of the flu virus, but they're all relatively close enough that exposure to some of the virus will protect you from others. Now, this is obviously for old people. Young people die less from COVID than they do with the flu, actually, but they don't die that much of the flu either. Anyways, let's get into some sponsors so we can get back to doing this shit. This week, we've got expressvpn.com/American Party. We've had ExpressVPN on the network for a while now. You guys know them. You love them. If you buy the 1-year package, you get 3 months free. It's been the same deal since we've been with these guys, and I have it on every single one of my devices. I know most of you are probably thinking, why don't you just use incognito mode on Chrome? I used to do that all the time. Turns out people are now suing Google because incognito mode wasn't quite so incognito. They were collecting all of that data.
Surprise?
No. Am I surprised that Google's collecting data? Get the fuck out of here.
Surprise!
No, it doesn't hide your activity, by the way. It doesn't matter what mode you use or how many times you clear your browsing history. Your internet service provider can still see every single website you've ever visited, right? That's all in a database somewhere. Believe me, every single picture you've ever sent.
It's kind of like
your little
Snapchat
Chinese
that all
phone.
the photos are gone, right?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, disappearing photos. Yeah, they don't disappear from the server, asshole. The only place where stuff does disappear is 4chan, actually, but I wouldn't go on 4chan without using ExpressVPN, let's be real. That's why when I'm at home, I never go online. I don't ever go online on my phone, iPad, any of my computers without ExpressVPN, ever, for that reason. I don't want people collecting my data. As a matter of fact, Facebook sent us a marketplace thing the other day for the new merch store we have. Like, hey, do you want to fucking run your shit through Facebook? I'm like, yeah, we have a huge group on Facebook. Why not? Danny, our social media girl, you know her, started reading the fine print. And she's like, hey, it says here that they're going to get all of our customers' data. Are you okay with that? I'm like, no, fuck those guys. So we had to go in and individually put every single item on Facebook Marketplace, right?
Yeah.
But it's worth it to not give up more of your fucking shit to these people. And we're not going to expose your guys' shit either. So use ExpressVPN, reroute your internet connection. If you don't know what a VPN is, look it up. Very useful. Keeps all your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data. Not some, but 100%. And it's available on all devices, phones, computers, even your smart TV. So their call to action is protect your online activity today. You know what I say. Protect your digital butthole with VPN, rated #1 by CNET and Wired. Visit our exclusive link, expressvpn.com/AmericanParty. You get 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's ExpressVPN.com/AmericanParty. ExpressVPN.com/AmericanParty. I think it comes out to $63 for the year total.
I'm with
Not a
you,
bad
Mac
deal.
Daddy. I could only imagine what Dan's search history would
You
look
really
like.
don't want to see it. I can tell you that much. I mean,
Oh, that's funny shit.
yeah, it's. Look, let's be real, guys. You just don't want to see that stuff. Protect that balloon knot, boys and girls. RM Smart. Congratulations. That made me laugh on the inside.
I make you laugh on the inside.
You do something else to my insides.
Yeah, that is true.
Oof.
It's fucking weird.
All right, so who's using this new vaccine passport so far? New York announced. New York announced that it will require the use of IBM's Excelsior Pass for entry to events and venues. Now, I'm telling you, this shit's going to get struck down in federal court soon. We'll get to why here in a few. The program was first tested at New York Rangers game at Madison Square Garden on March 2nd. It is currently required for entry to Madison Square Garden and Times Union Center, and it is expected to expand to include smaller arts, entertainment, and event venues. Now, if you're wondering why the staff from Caroline's, one of the most famous comedy clubs in the world in New York, are now moving here,
Yeah.
wonder no longer. If you're wondering why James Altucher is living in Florida and not New York, wonder no longer. You know what I mean? Absolutely crazy. The EU announced plans to create a quote-unquote digital green certificate to track whether a person has been vaccinated, received a negative test result, or recovered from the virus, right? Now, a lot of this stuff makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you want to check and see if whatever the fuck? Just because something makes sense doesn't mean it's a good idea. And let me explain what I mean. What's the safest form of sex? Abstinence, right? What's the safest way to go skiing? Don't ski. What's the safest way to have the citizens own guns? No guns. All of these are unacceptable answers for the vast majority of people,
sure.
right? So you cannot cede control to we know the government's corrupt now. If anybody had any fucking delusions about the right and the left being corrupt, I think those delusions are fucking gone now for the most part. There's still some hangers on, but most people are fucking, even Charles Barkley's on CBS, like, hey, all these politicians are fucking lying to you.
Yep.
The media is lying to you. So you just can't. Think about it this way. One of your friends in your group is the problem friend. He's the one that's always getting everybody in trouble. Do you hand him the keys to your car and say, hey, we're all going to get fucked up. You want to be the designated driver? No. Of course not. That'd be crazy to do that. It'd be suicide to do that. Israel has developed the only vaccine passport currently in widespread use. It's called the Green Pass. They've already vaccinated all their people. So they're probably, I don't know how they're using it, if it's internally, but it is, it is pretty interesting what's going on in Israel. So Israel and who was the other one? Peru, I think. Israel and Peru are the top 2 vaccinated countries in the world right now. I think 100% of people who are eligible have been vaccinated. Peru is seeing an uptick already, right? I don't know what the fuck's going on down there, but we'll see about that. But Israel is not like America. Not many places are like America. You see what's going on in Canada right now? We think of Canada as this free country. Not really. They're getting fucking butt fucked by their government right now. England. Even conservative Boris Johnson is fucking people over there, locking them down again, not letting them go on holiday and stuff. I read a study yesterday that said something like a third of people, I believe it was, who have had COVID are now suffering from some kind of neurological or psychological problem, right? Now that's correlation for sure, if there's a rise in it for sure. Causation, however, is it the effects of the virus, or is it the effects of being locked indoors and not having human interaction and eating shitty food and not being outside in the fucking sunlight, right? Gut health, by the way, 95% of all the serotonin in your body is made in your gut, in the bacteria in your gut. Yep. Not in your brain.
Yeah.
In your gut. Mm-hmm. So if your diet sucks and you feel like shit and you're miserable, that's why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So common sense, maybe, but we're just not going to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, like how, like I got, there were, like New York, and if you look at states like that, and that was the issue, right? Like, then that makes sense. But like, if you were in Texas here the whole time, and we see the same rise in the people who were in Texas during the time of the quarantine, I mean, we weren't really as quarantined as like what I've heard.
We were never quarantined.
We were never quarantined. No. So I think it just, I mean, I think that
there were some capacity issues, but most of the bars ignored it. There were some, I mean, there was mass stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was mass
which
stuff.
Is fine, but
there was like, you couldn't go down to bars and shit, right? Like there was restaurants closed, shit like that.
Right.
But I mean, as far as like lockdown, like, I hear these stories of people in DC who, like, well, we didn't leave our house. Like, what do you, I don't even know what that means, right? Like,
yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, people are like, I didn't leave my house in fucking 8 months. Like, really?
Really?
Why?
Yeah.
You think you're having psychological problems because you had COVID. No, you have them because you've been locked indoors for 8 months.
Or you had them before and you just didn't have the distraction.
Right.
And now you seen it.
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
right? Like this,
that's a good point
no
too.
telling how many things this brought to light. I mean, look, for me, the hardest part for me was, like I noticed in my life that I didn't have to, like, that life was better. Like, I thought I had to be busy all the fucking time. I had to be on the road. I had to be, if I wasn't working or I wasn't doing something that I wasn't moving forward. And really, like, just because your wheels are spinning doesn't mean that your car's moving, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And like that was the biggest thing for me is that, I mean, I crushed it last year, and I didn't even do 50% of the work that I've done the last 5 years.
That's the dark secret that everybody figured out in 2020 is, and businesses as well, figured out. People working from home are far more productive. They can get done in about 2.5 hours what they typically get done in 8 in the office because there are no distractions. It's called contact switching. There's a lot of research on it, really good books. Basically, every time you get interrupted when you're on a task, it takes you about 15 to 20 minutes to get back into that task at the efficiency you were before you got interrupted, right? It's really that simple. So there's a lot of opposition to this. Obviously, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who is being attacked by various media outlets in a way that makes them look really bad. Even CNN called out 60 Minutes. They were like, dude, you guys edited the fuck out of this video. And all the Democratic lawmakers that were involved in the plan with Publix came forward and said, no, none of that's true. So what does it say when 60 Minutes is running political hit pieces? Not good. But he signed an executive order prohibiting businesses from requiring customers to show proof of vaccination. as well as preventing any state government from issuing vaccine passports. Greg Abbott did the same.
So, but why don't? But if they're doing this, then why don't they also prohibit from the mask shit?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, am I off on that or what?
I don't know. I mean, you can say no shirt, no shoes, no service. Why not no mask? Honestly, I know that it's irritating, but is it an infringement of your constitutional right? Probably not. It's just irritating, right?
I mean, but again, just
and
like
we're in a culture war too, so just don't go to that place.
just like this passport thing, though. It's like, where does it? Like, why is the line there, right?
It's a good question.
You know
I really
don't
know.
Why? What if I start telling you that I need you to wear long sleeve shirts?
Yep. In Texas, the order also blocks all businesses or entities receiving state funds from requiring vaccine documentation of any kind. Meaning, if you go, I mean, technically speaking, you can't, a school in Texas, even a private school like you're talking about your kids going to, they cannot ask for this.
No, but what they'll tell you is that your kid. So what Urs said is your kid can return in 5. Like, so if there was an exposure, and it's not even a true exposure by the CDC.
Right.
If someone in their classroom tested positive for COVID, then that kid couldn't come back for 5 days with no COVID symptoms and a negative test, or you had to wait like 10 or 15 days.
That's different. Exposure and testing are different than a vaccination.
But it's not a true exposure considering as
for sure
as best CDC.
For sure. And there,
So
look.
like, how do we make our own fucking rules?
The problem is if 4 or 5 kids in the class get COVID, not a big deal. Honestly, they're not at any risk. Statistically speaking, they're at 0 risk, right? The older teacher might be, but if the teacher gets COVID,
all the teachers wear masks.
Yeah, but if the teacher does get COVID, then you have to replace the teacher. So if 15 kids are out of class, that's 15 kids out of class. They can still work from home. If the teacher's out of class, that makes things a lot more difficult. So I think they're just probably trying to mitigate bullshit a little bit. I'm not making excuses for them. I'm just saying that's probably
Teachers
where
get
their
sick
heads
all
on.
the time.
For sure, with all sorts of stuff. I mean, kids are fucking disease factories. They were fucking spreading germs a long time before COVID came along. Anyways, back to this. 70 British lawmakers have also signaled opposition to the vaccine passports in a signed statement. I don't know how much authority they really have to shut down the prime minister there because this is his order. There is some historic precedence for this, but we'll discuss the differences between what's going on there and what's going on right now. Starting in the 1880s, U.S. border officials sometimes required travelers to provide proof that they had been vaccinated against smallpox. If you remember at Ellis Island when all the Italians were coming over, early 1900s, a lot of them had to get quarantined for smallpox. If you've watched fucking Godfather 2, you can see little Vito Corleone fucking sitting in a goddamn room by himself for a couple of weeks waiting to get into America. Doctors will sometimes check travelers for vaccination documentation, inoculation scars, or a pitted face indicating they've already survived smallpox. If a person had not yet been vaccinated, they would be either refused entry or asked or given the vaccine on the spot. Now, these are all examples of international border crossings, not inside of our own country. That's the difference. That's one of the differences. It raises the question, though, should there be some kind of international check? Like, should Customs and Border Patrol guys, should CBP at the airport and should TSA at the airports for international stuff be checking people for some kind of stuff? Because they did that for Ebola, right? But they were only checking for, like, if you came from a hot spot, they would check you out. And if you were sweating your ass off or exhibiting symptoms, they would check you out. But that might make sense, going in and out of the country, right? For the same reason that we do checks on agriculture. Like if you bring an exotic plant.
But most of this shit doesn't show. I mean, most people are asymptomatic.
Asymptomatic. Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, what do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What are you going to do? Ask if they can smell this?
Yeah, I mean, just put smelling salts under their nose, and if they don't react, but fucking fake Dan doesn't react to it. We did that earlier in the week. So, hold on a sec. Is completely infringing on their freedom, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we'll get to that. So here are some concerns, and they're abundant, obviously, but here are some of the main ones. So accessibility is a concern due to the fact that most of the apps are being developed for smartphones. Anybody that's elderly or doesn't have a smartphone wouldn't be able to get it, right, or at least carry that around with them all the time. That might be a problem. It raises concerns over digital privacy as well as violating health information privacy, HIPAA. It definitely violates HIPAA. But, HIPAA rules are if your employer, for example, offers you a vaccination at work, if let's say this was legal. It's not, by the way, this particular vaccination. But we'll get to that in a sec. If it was mandatory, if it was a mandatory vaccination, and your employer offered it to you, they're not asking you they're saying, hey, you have to get the vaccination and we'll give it to you for free.
Okay.
That's not something that you can sue over, right?
No.
That is what it is. You can go find a new job. Fauci stated that passports will not be mandated by the federal government, but independent businesses may still refuse people based on their vaccination record. Now, that's true to an extent, not true for this case. Again, I'll get into that in a sec. On the 16th of December, the EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, right, confirmed that COVID-19 vaccination requirement by itself would not violate the ADA, which is also true. What they decided, for whatever reason, to omit from their report is that an EAU, or EUA, right, I'm sorry, EUA, which is an emergency use authorization, vaccination cannot be, by law, mandatory. So remember, these 3 vaccinations that are floating around right now have not been authorized by the federal government. They haven't gone through the proper testing.
Yeah, that's the crazy part, right? It's like
Right.
they're not even approved by them.
Right. So, but that's a good thing for everybody. And this is important information for everybody to know. So listen carefully. If something is in the EUA stage, the emergency use authorization stage, it cannot by law be mandatory. That is, vaccinations that were rushed through the process and not been approved by the FDA or in any traditional way cannot be mandated by employers, the government, or anyone else. Anyone inside this country. That's U.S. code, or it's 21 U.S. code section 360 BBB-3, authorization for medical products for use in emergencies. That's the name of the law. All right? 21 U.S. code section 360 -3, authorization for medical products for use in emergencies. So long as these 3 vaccines continue to be classified as EUA, which they are, and they're going to be for the next 2 to 5 years at a minimum, because that's how long it takes to test.
Yep.
No one can fucking mandate you get this. I don't care if it's a private company or the federal government or anybody else. Okay? Everybody needs to know that shit. Excuse me. When Dr. Amanda Cohn, who is the executive secretary of the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, was asked if COVID-19 vaccination can be required, she responded that under an EUA, quote, vaccines are not allowed to be mandatory. So early in the vaccination phase, individuals will have to be consented and they won't be able to be mandatory. The end. So even if there was a vaccination passport right now, in the short term, until this moves into an approved vaccination, one of these 3 does, or all 3, and they're still considered EUAs, they cannot be mandated. Law enforcement can't mandate them. No federal law can do that, and it actually is a violation of federal law for them to even ask, frankly.
I'm telling you, it's going to be before too long where they're going to say you can't get on a fucking airplane if you don't have the vaccine.
And they'll be violating 21 U.S. Code, Section 360 -3.
I mean, dude, our whole country just shut us down. They violated the law, too.
There's no law that says they can't shut down private business.
Over all this bullshit?
There's no law that says they can't do it because we didn't think we needed that law. We thought the 9th and 10th Amendment would have done that for us.
It's fucking nuts.
It didn't. You know what I mean?
It's fucking nuts.
So
the government can shut us down. So technically the government can shut us down for anything they want to.
Well, so federal courts in Minneapolis and New Jersey and Pennsylvania and several others overturned shutdowns and capacity limits and all that stuff. It just hasn't made its way to the Supreme Court yet, but it will, right?
It's just it's nuts.
It is nuts. So here's the real problem, though. Even though right now you might take all that information and be like, well, they can't do this anyways. The government can't break the law. And they will break the law, let's be clear. But they won't need to, provided if they install this vaccination passport bullshit now, and we ignore it because it's unenforceable, as soon as these vaccines become FDA certified, then they can be enforced on us, right? If this vaccination passport thing becomes a thing. This cannot become a thing. It is completely outside.
Or they can just go change this fucking law. They do it all the time.
They can, yeah.
I mean, they can just go fucking change it. They can just take it up for a vote and let this be.
They could try, but there's no fucking way that's passing through the Senate. They would filibuster the shit out of that. Once again, all right, I'll fucking put the code in the room here. It is 21 U.S. Code Section 360 Bravo-3 authorization for medical products for use in emergencies. Anywhere or any vaccination that is still classified as an EUA cannot, repeat, by federal law cannot be mandatory by private companies or the federal government.
But what it comes down to is like, how bad do you need something? I mean, it's going to come down to that. Like, how, yeah, you know, look, if all of a sudden they come up and airlines say, fuck it, you have to have this to do it. I mean, it's kind of like the mask thing right now.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't want to wear it, like, no, if you get on an airplane without a mask, that you're going to get kicked off and that you're not going to be able to fly and you're not going to be able to get on your trip and go about your life. And I mean, that's the fact of it.
I don't care about the mask, though.
Is they know, I mean, the mask is as dumb as the vaccine.
It's dumb, but it's inconvenient. It's not a chemical inside of my body.
I mean, it's as dumb as I mean, how much shit did we get put in our bodies in the military?
I didn't take any of that shit.
You didn't get any of the anthrax, none of that.
I did get anthrax, yeah, but I wanted that. I just thought that would be kind of cool, to be honest, to get the anthrax vaccine because I was a huge fan of that band.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, here's the thing: is like when unless we only have to rely on ourselves as individuals, the more we have to rely on other people, like going out to eat or going to the grocery store, the more we have to rely on other institutions or entities to do something for us, the more we are going to have to be at whatever they say they do.
Right, but I mean,
it's a fact.
Luckily, and we'll see how it goes, but there's enough wealthy conservatives that will challenge this and take them to court. So if you or I sued the federal government over trying to make a vaccine mandatory, we're not going to get very far. But if I hate this guy, but if like the MyPillow guy, and this seems like the kind of thing he would probably do, decides to go,
I don't know, he just got his ass chapped.
It doesn't matter. He's a billionaire. Doesn't matter. And in court, it certainly doesn't matter. And I mean, to be honest, I could see Elon Musk doing something like this too, where he intentionally probes those systems to try to get somebody to enforce the passport on him and then sues in return. It's going to take somebody doing that probably.
Yeah. But either way, though, you're talking like, I mean, the reality of it is that, look, they have us by the balls. I mean, the reality of it is that, you know, if that's the fact of it. I mean,
they do, in a lot of ways, have us by the balls. The difference is that we have guns.
Yeah, you know, but I mean, nobody's going to go fucking, I mean, if you can't go into H-E-B
we say
to get
that
your groceries.
We say that all the time. There will be a precipice where people are like, you know what, too far.
I think it's coming, but I mean, you know, I think that like I think we just have, but I think, you know, we're to the point now to where everything that they tell us we have to do, we're fucking arguing. Right. Which I agree. You should be educated and you should decide what you want to do. But you also have to understand, like, at what cost. You want to fucking go at it at what cost, right? Like, okay, I mean, you can't sit here and say, oh, fuck Facebook, I'm never getting on Facebook again, and then get on Facebook again, right? Or it's one of these deals of, like, we need to start choosing our fucking battles. And because you don't think that, like, I mean, there's money being made left and right off this, no matter what, on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
You know, it's like it doesn't fucking matter, right?
It ultimately always comes down to money, right?
At what cost? At what cost are we willing to take this to task? At what cost are we willing to stand up against, you know, vaccine passports? Is this really...
Somewhere's got to be the line.
It does,
You know what I mean?
and we just need to figure out, but the line has to be at all cost.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to start a fight unless you're ready to finish the fight.
That's it,
because
right?
you start a fight unready, unwilling to continue and then ultimately win, then you're going to lose. And if you lose that fight, the government gets control over you that you can never get back.
Because you think that, like, I mean, I would have never thought they could close down the whole country like that.
Well, they couldn't. The reason they were allowed to do it is because...
but I would have thought the people would be like, fuck you.
Well, a lot of them did, right?
A lot of them did. But still, the majority The majority of this country was shut down, no matter how we look at it, right? I mean, our economy is fucking got slammed by it, right? Like, there's no, and we haven't even felt the repercussions of I mean, there's still people who are living in places. There are people who have rental property who haven't received a rental check
since March
of
last year. Yeah.
And think about what's going to happen. You talk about the tail end of, I call it the slinky effect, right? Of where you pull that slinky out and then that thing's going to come back and hit you. I mean, you talk about the tail end of that. Imagine what's going to happen to all these people who haven't paid fucking rent for the last year.
When that bill comes
due.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Bankruptcy is what's going to happen. They're all going to file bankruptcy. Those, particularly the mom and pop rental places that have like 4 or 5 buildings through town. Maybe they're. I mean, they're upper middle class. For sure, but they're not rich. And all that money that they were expecting to come through is now canceled, right? So now what do? The commercial real estate market crashes. That's what happens. And if you think that's good for fucking business, Jesus Christ,
it's not fucking good for anybody, right?
No.
And so you look at all these things, right? Like, we haven't even felt the effects of this yet. It hasn't came yet. And, it's just – it's a matter of time before it does come. And it's kind of like, for me, I look at, do I think it's fucked up, these vaccines, the passport, right? Yeah, it's fucking stupid. But, I mean, I have to show shit that I think is stupid all the fucking time across shit I want to do. And it's and it's like, look, you can either show it or you can just not do it.
Yeah, and you have to start making decisions. Like with the mask thing, I don't really care. It's easy enough to do. Like, I don't really think about it that much.
Yeah, but to get kicked off of a fucking airplane because your 2-year-old won't put a fucking mask on?
The stuff with the 2-year-old is stupid.
I have to sit on a fucking airplane with a mask on, and I'm sitting around a bunch of people who have these gaiters on who don't even wear real fucking masks.
Right.
So, like, why? What's the deal?
Well, I mean, somebody in the comments here, Eric MC, just made a good point. He said he remembers when the experts said painkillers were not addictive, and now we're in the middle of an opioid epidemic. I remember watching the stories, because remember when we were kids is when the fucking tobacco companies were finally starting to get lit up.
Yeah.
But you remember those ads that they were playing at the trials from the 1950s where 9 out of 10 doctors agree fucking Winston-Salem cigarettes are the best. Like low tar, so it doesn't, like, the tar amount didn't matter at all. Apparently you still get cancer.
Yep.
But people were saying that shit was healthy. The FDA came up with this food pyramid where grain was the biggest, most important part of your diet. You cannot trust the government. When they say trust science, look at what science has told us. Science in America is big pharma. That's what it is.
If you don't think
they've raped the fuck out of this country.
If you don't think that all of it is driven by money and all of it is driven by how do we make the most profit, like, nobody's looking out. Nobody in power, whether it's in our government, whether it's in big pharma, whether it's in the banks, none of them are doing that because they're not in the business of helping us. They're in the business of fucking helping themselves and making money.
Yep.
And that's the facts of it, right? And it is what it is, but you have to know that. You just have to go into it knowing that. It's like a relationship, right?
It's almost like like social Kentucky windage. You know what I mean?
It is.
Like when certain people say something to you, you believe them. Mm-hmm. When some of your friends say something, you believe them. When some of your friends say something, it's like that conversion code where a girl in college, if she tells you how many people she's fucked, you can multiply that times 3.
Yeah.
And a guy, you can divide by 3, typically. You know what I mean? Like the guy's trying to lie about his sexual proclivity, and the woman is trying to lie about her virtue, and that's how it works. And you have to, that's why when the government says, "Hey, we just want some common sense gun reform, we just want some vaccination passports," I'm like, no, I've seen your fucking history, bitch. Yeah. I know that you're coming to fuck me over.
Your street cred, our government street cred is about like it's the gone. VA street cred, right?
Get fucked.
I mean, the street cred is fucking gone, and like that's where we have to. That's why we as individuals have to be smart about what decisions we make, right? Like, don't just follow it because everybody else is. Like, educate yourself. There are consequences to everything. There are consequences to good decisions. There's consequences to bad decisions. But the fact is that we can't get so fucking lazy and caught up in these emotional, social, social crises that are being made to be like, you've literally got Facebook, Instagram, you've got other people telling you what your fucking problems are.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't even know you, right?
No.
You got the news trying to tell you what your problems are. You don't think that all that shit is trying to drive sales.
Yeah,
money.
of course it is.
It's padding somebody.
We think of it driving sales as trying to buy T-shirts or a house or a car. No, sales as in giving your money to these organizations so they can turn around and give them to politicians.
Dude, to fucking insurance.
Get the fuck out of here.
Why do you think there's so many lobbyists and all this shit, right? Like there is no money to be made in happy people.
No. Imagine the concept of that. Imagine you were starting a country, right, that had just come out of a basically a dictatorial plutocracy. And would you ever, under any circumstances, allow that government to allow people to get paid to come try to pay and convince politicians to set laws? Why the fuck would you allow that?
When somebody tells you how you should do something, that should be the first thing you should think about is, why the fuck are you telling me this? Who is making money off of this, right?
It's called cui bono.
It's
Q-U-I-B-O-N-O. It's a Latin phrase that means who benefits.
Who benefits, right?
Yeah.
And figure it out. And as long as you're okay with who's benefiting to benefit, then maybe that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because look, there is good business, right? There are things in place that do help people.
Yeah, for sure.
But you should figure it out and understand that nobody is doing it out of the goodness of their fucking heart. Right? People donate a shit ton of money for a tax write-off.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
It's one of these deals.
That's a win-win situation, by the way.
It is, and as long as everybody's winning, that's what makes sense.
What we're trying to do with representative democracy is say, hey, we've got this amount of fucking people, right? We've got, let's say it's Austin. We have Austin, and there are people here in Austin that need help. We need police to protect people, right? We need whatever other help we need. There's homelessness, there's drug addiction, we need hospitals, et cetera, et cetera. And we look at ourselves and be like, all right, well, we don't have time to manage this day to day. We're going to hire a manager. You are the board of goddamn directors for this country. Every single one of you motherfuckers out there is on the board of directors for the United States of America, particularly in your local government. That person is not a trustee. They are a representative. They represent the will of the fucking people. And if the will of the people is not being represented, they have to go, man. They get fired immediately. I don't understand why we have these these popularity contests to decide who's going to be the fucking monkey that stands on stage and says whatever. No, you go get the fucking job done. We need cops. Go make cops happen. Tell me what you need to make cops happen. We'll look at it, and if it makes sense, we'll fucking do that.
And you know what? And then we'll do it. We'll get it out the gate with the best thing we have, and we'll adjust as we go.
Yeah, but that the federal government would have control over any of this is obscene. It is completely fucked. The 9th and 10th Amendment are pretty clear. Anything not covered in the Constitution itself or these Bill of Rights, off the table, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't belong. It's not the federal purview. Get the fuck out.
Distro here. Distro, you're a fucking idiot.
Wait, who's
Look at Distro.
Understand the simple concept of people population sad to
He
see.
shows a fucking idiot.
Willfully give their, hold on. It's so sad to see people willfully give up their individual. What are you talking about? He's been talking about people shouldn't give up their rights for the last fucking hour.
He's such a fucking idiot.
He's probably.
Yeah, he's probably the.
I'm not Tim Wu. I'm not an Asian man. Although I've never seen Tim Wu in person, he may have just made that name up. There's a decent chance.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just crazy, man. I think it's just one of these deals that, like, you know, you just like, at what cost again, right? I look at everything and I say, at what cost? Okay, so I'm going to take this. Like, I think there's a bunch of shit that goes on that's crazy, you know. And then you got to go deeper. Like, why does this person believe this is the right way, right? Like, where were they fucked at, right? Like, where did?
Well, I mean, people are just scared and lazy.
Scared and lazy, right?
Right. They're afraid of the consequences of standing up. They're afraid of the consequences of sitting down. Yeah. So they're all fucking crouched.
Just doing what they're told.
Immobile.
Just doing what they're told.
Yeah, they're frozen. They're paralyzed. We think of fight or flight, but it's actually fight, flight, freeze, right? You've seen that in combat. Dudes fucking freeze up sometimes. And look, you don't know if it's going to happen to you before the bullets start flying the first time. Yeah. I guess I could say I had the benefit of being shot at before I was in the Army, so I kind of knew what to expect. Yeah. But I've seen dudes that are fucking legit tough guys before and after these situations freeze up for a second. Oh yeah, it just happens, man.
I mean, it's a natural instinct.
Yeah, so I don't want to be too judgmental about these people that are frozen like that. No. But you got to wake the fuck up. Gotta wake up, because shit is we're fucking. If all this slippery slope shit we've been talking about for the last 20 years, we are fucking slipping, sliding down that motherfucker, man.
Yeah, we're getting close.
Not good. All right, well.
See you in hell.
Yeah, we'll see you in hell.